Derrick, what's up, dude?
It's Derrick and Eric. What's up?
Dude, here we are, man. You know what I'm saying? What a fucking delight, man.
We
Are
did
you
it.
you feeling better?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I sound better. I'm not
Yeah.
coughing as much.
Okay.
Man, I ran a fever for like 3 days. So, yeah, I'm
Oh,
feeling a lot better
oh
now.
no. The old COVID or what's going on,
It
man?
wasn't COVID, it was flu A, which is apparently the worst one.
Oh, like the
I didn't know there's a whole,
influenza A?
yeah, I didn't know
Mm,
there's a whole like alphabet of flu that you can get. So,
sure.
uh,
Isn't it something like we get the alphabets of, the ABCs of death, for horror movies.
yes, yes.
There's ABCs for, the flu and who knows, all the shit that can kill us. Wow. But
I
thank
know.
God we're still here, brother,
That's
and
right.
appreciating you being on here today, dude. How fucking sick. I apologize once again, that Friday didn't work out, but kind of worked on both of our ends this last week. For me, it was crazy in the
Yeah.
Midwest. Weather has been insane. Connections have been kind of funky, and so yeah. Thank God though, dude. I really appreciate you hopping on tonight. God,
Are you still
how fun!
snowed in? You still got a lot of snow?
No, today it's been a little bit. It was a little bit sunnier, so really like it's kind of melting down a little bit. I mean, not like anything too crazy, but like roads are starting to clear up, and driveways are kind of like wetting out, and not so piled. So thank God.
Good.
I like the
Nice.
snow. I have a fun time, but it's like not like when we were kids.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Have you always been in? Which Carolinas is it?
I'm in the South one, South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I've always liked snow. It's always a treat here because it'll snow maybe once a year and everything shuts down. Everybody will stay home and just eat like frozen pizzas, and you get to stay out of school for a couple days, and it's a party.
Yeah.
So we love snow here, but we rarely get it. So like I said, it's a treat when we get it. I understand, maybe not so much for you. I told you my brother lives in Maine, and I
Yeah.
think it has to snow like 12 feet before anything actually shuts down there. So
Yeah.
um, he's over it now. He's been there almost 20 years, so he hates the snow.
Oh, really? Wow. And
Yeah.
it snows a lot up there?
Yeah. I think it snowed
Wow.
like around Halloween. It's like it snowed in October one year, not too long ago. So yeah, it's a lot.
That sounds right. Okay. Last year we had gotten like snowed out during like all the Halloween festivities and everything like that. Like
Really? Wow.
we ended up having to go to like a local grocery store because we were just gonna get like some candy and popcorn to watch a movie, and it's like a big, like kind of like a or like a complex, like a Walmart type store, but it was a
Yeah.
Meijer, and it was kind of sick because the power was completely out. So they had like all these security like up by the front doors because people were trying to walk out with like TVs and shit because
Oh
there was
my
no
God.
alarms,
Yeah.
and so it was like a matter of like moments that they're like, "Yo, we need security up here now."
Yeah. We had something similar not too long ago. Back in October, we had Hurricane Helene kind of came through and knocked out all our shit for several weeks. And um, we had, yeah, police were at like Best Buys and shit like that. And I'm like, who's buying a TV right now? Because you can't even watch the damn thing. So, um, yeah, nobody had power for weeks. It was insane.
Man, even as a thief,
Yeah,
proactive, you know,
that's right.
something there. If we could only, just kind of use that for good instead of
Hmm.
stealing.
Yeah. I know.
Jesus. Okay,
Still
so
groceries instead of TVs, maybe. You know?
maybe give to like some of it to the homeless. Just
Hmm.
be a help. Maybe an asset.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So you're born and raised South Carolina, then.
Yes. Yes. I've never lived anywhere else. Been here my whole
That's
life. How about you?
beautiful, dude. And
You always been in Michigan
Michigan.
area?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. It's the same. Luckily, I mean, as growing up, I've gotten to do a little traveling in Vegas, New York, and Florida, and different spots too. But there's just something that sounds like a nice beach spot. Like I've always known. Like my wife has gone to South Carolina for spring break and different shit like that. Where
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, why leave?
Right. Everyone knows Myrtle Beach. That's kind of like the beach that we're famous for. But and that's where like kind of everyone from like the north will travel down
Hmm.
to, and even like the Midwest travels to. But there's we do have nice beaches here,
Hmm.
other than Myrtle Beach. So but like I said before, in our DMs, I live closer to the mountains here, so
Mm, okay.
the beach is like 3 hours from me. So I
Okay.
live in a coastal state, but not necessarily on the beach.
Sure. Okay. What is a, what's like a low key beach that you tend to, maybe you don't want to put out the best gem, but a spot that's not Myrtle Beach where it's like,
I'll give
yo,
you the best one.
okay.
It's Sullivan's Island.
Never even heard of it. Perfect.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a residential. It's kind of like a residential place where they have, you have like rental homes and stuff like that. So if you want to do like the Airbnb thing, you can do that there.
Okay.
And another one's Isle of Palms. It's a little bit busier only because they have a couple of resorts.
Okay.
But that's technically I think in the Charleston area. So
Okay.
maybe a
Okay.
couple hours from Myrtle Beach. But that's more of like a low key spot.
Okay. And I'm thinking of these things and doing a vacation and kind of getting over that spot. What's a food spot that's somewhere around some of these places that's like a must have for coming to South Carolina?
Okay, so are you thinking like the beach? Like if you're going to the beach,
That might be the best bet.
kind of a thing?
We're having
Yeah.
that day.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, so if you're like in the Charleston area, there's a place called Rita's that's really good. There's also like it's kind of like it's almost kind of tourist trappy, but the food's really good. It's called Hyman's, and it's a seafood restaurant. So, um,
Dude.
great shrimp and grits. Yeah,
Oh
those are
man.
some
Dude.
good spots. Also, Hall's Steakhouse. There's one in Charleston. I keep referencing all these Charleston places, but the food scene in Charleston is really good. So if you
That's
want to go to
that's
like a
it.
beach area that's got good food, Charleston is a place to go.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. All right, sick. I mean, and it was something that for a little while, especially with being able to have conversations with different people all over the world and, even within the United States, it's like, hey, at some point I get to South Carolina, I need to know some of these eats, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe not have to, put up with the absolute bullshit of the bigger beaches. And so, yeah, thank you, man. High five.
Well, hit me up when you're trying to plan your trip, and I'll help you do that. Okay.
Dude,
Yeah.
sick. Oh man, that's perfect. What a great thing. At some point, maybe with some of these interviews, I'll have to put out like a little travel guide, for people that are going to Indonesia or South Carolina or
Right.
LA and the necessary foods. You know what I'm saying? We'll
Absolutely.
use this.
Didn't we just have someone on from that lives in France the
Yeah.
other day? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
You're
even
you're
there it is,
international. So
dude. Very fun. Very fun. Have you seen that movie by the way? The Vordelok.
what's it called?
The Vordelok.
I don't think so. No, I've not. No.
It's I think it goes on Shutter tomorrow. It
Okay.
is, dude. It's so good. I don't. Do you
What's
have
the
Shutter?
what's I do. Yeah. What's the genre? Like, what would you? How would you categorize that?
Let's say, um, I would I would say it is almost folk horror, mixed with like some vampire
Okay.
elements. But it's based on like almost kind of like a predecessor to Dracula and how very earlier depictions of like how vampires were and how they were originally like not this pretty boy with long hair but almost zombie like ghoul type creatures,
Mm-hmm.
and just like feasting on the living however they can, whether it's biting on top of your head or in the back of your neck or whatnot.
Nice. So is it
Dude,
French?
it's
Is it a
great.
French movie?
Yep,
Yeah.
subtitles. Yep,
Okay.
it was on Prime, and that's where I had gotten it. A friend of mine on here had recommended it, and then they were announcing that they were doing like a big thing through Shutter, and then I think maybe even Cineverse is doing like a Blu-ray with like a bunch of special features and
Oh,
shit.
nice. Yeah. I'll check that out. Yeah.
Dude,
I
it's
love
sick.
anything vampires. I'll definitely give that a try.
It's different, and I think there's like a certain aspect where something comes in, and you're just like, "What the fuck is going on?" And
Yeah.
it just gets even more wild from there.
Well, speaking of vampires, have you seen Nosferatu? Did you see that
I
yet?
have, I
What'd you
have.
think of
What'd you
that?
think?
I didn't like it. I was bored the whole
No
time. Yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh, sad.
I felt like there was definitely moments where it was kind of lully, but when it was said and done, for some reason, like as I stood up and thought about everything, I was like, oh, that really wasn't all that long. Like I felt like it was pretty like evenly paced between her character and him and like kind of what all was going on. But but I mean, I guess I came out of the Northman absolutely pissed off. So I was
Same.
like, maybe this
Yeah.
was kind of, oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know if this was like kind of a redemption from that, but I was not happy with that movie after the
Yeah.
other shit that he's done.
I know. Well, that's the thing. So I love The Witch. That was my first introduction to Eggers, and I thought that was incredible. It's still one of my favorite folk horror movies, just in general. I
Hmm.
watch it every year on Halloween. Perfect movie. But The Lighthouse came. Wasn't a fan of that. And then The Northman. Not a fan of that. And then
Hmm.
now we had Nosferatu, and while it was beautiful to look at, it was gorgeous.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it was just a little boring. So I'm afraid Eggers might just be a one-hit wonder for me.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Lighthouse was something too, where like I'm not anybody by any means who's like Mr. Art House film production and well, technically, like I mean, I'm not the guy who uses like film every other two fucking words when I'm trying to explain like how I like something. Like
Me
it's
neither.
not
I
to
say
knock those people,
no,
but
no.
you know,
It's a
but
fucking movie.
I just, it just kind of is what it is, with kind of my breakdown with those things. But I feel like Robert Eggers is definitely that type of person, though, when somebody is looking to talk about like a film and looking to
Right.
talk about cinema, like his movies are very, universal. Like you are encaptivated with what's going
Sure.
on with the Lighthouse or the Northman, or, I mean, even the Witch,
Mm-hmm.
like you take a second to look at it on TV and it's playing on some network and you're like, oh my God, like I'm in this world. The Lighthouse, I loved. It was ridiculous, way over the top. The Northman, I was just like, there's
Yeah.
nothing really that it hits at all for me. Like
No.
even as an action movie or like a period piece,
I liked
kind of goofy.
Bjork's 10 seconds in there. That was kind of cool to see her. Other than that, yeah, I didn't need to see that ever again. And like Nosferatu, I appreciate it. It was fine. But even like there was this Russian lady sitting next to me in the theater, and at one point, maybe like 15 or 20 minutes into it, she leans over to her husband and she goes, boring, in her thick Russian accent. And I'm like, so maybe that just kind of set the tone. I had that in my head. But
Oh my God.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I saw it on
I,
Christmas Day. I was so hyped for it too.
yeah, yeah.
And I'll give all his other movies a chance. Like that's the thing about me. I'm a pretty forgiving movie watcher. So I just saw that he's doing some werewolf movie. I love
Mm.
werewolves, so of course I'll give that a chance. I just hope the creature actually looks like a werewolf and not just some dude with a big, thick beard or something.
Right, right, right. Did you see, what was the newest Wolfman? Did you see that?
No, no, not yet. And unfortunately, I heard not so good things about it. Did you see it?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to completely shit on it by any means because that's kind of one of those things too with like an American Werewolf in London or even like Silver Bullet. That's a really cool subgenre that if it's just
Yeah.
taken, like not so lightly and given that extra practical effects as far as transformations and shit, like it can be a cool. Even Cursed, that was like a like early 2000s,
I
like
love Cursed.
Christina
Yeah.
Ricci. That was
It
like
was
pretty
fun.
fun. Yeah,
It
yeah,
was a
yeah.
fun movie. Yeah.
But yeah, it was okay. There was just a lot of things that were going on in it where it was like, I don't think even in this universe that would ever have happened.
And I heard that it was more of like a body horror type situation, and not very wolfy. So I don't know. I'll
Yeah.
check it out when it comes maybe on streaming, but I'm not going to like
I,
the movies to see it or anything like
no,
that.
I wouldn't have a huge rush. I feel like another one that I'm kind of hearing like something along the same lines that I just went and saw was Presence. Have you seen that?
I've not seen it. I've heard good things though.
I don't. I mean, literally, it was like later a couple of nights ago. I had the night off. I was just looking at the movies, like, oh, Presence, like thriller, psychological horror. Like, okay, I don't know anything about this. I'm not going to watch the trailer. Got a hold of a buddy. We met up, went and saw it. That movie was fucking awesome. But
Okay.
people are straight up like hating on it. I mean, somebody
Really?
is in the
Okay.
comments saying that they love it, but a lot of people have like been pouncing on that, just like not scary, not good. It's dude. There's a couple moments, like literally, you kind of have that feeling, if like you're sitting down or you're like on the toilet too long, your like legs are kind of going fuck it, you're like, God damn it,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You're like having to like kind of balance yourself out so you don't fall over and shit. Head to toe, there was a couple of moments in that movie where I was like, oh my God, like
Okay.
straight up
All
chills.
right.
It was
I'll
good.
put that one
I
on
thought it
my
was good.
radar because honestly, the next thing I'm really looking forward to was Hard Eyes.
Oh,
I'm a
me
sucker for
too.
I'm a sucker for anything like Valentine horror related. So
Hmm.
definitely, or just holiday horror in
Yeah,
general. You give
yeah,
me
yeah.
a holiday combined with like horror, I'm gonna go see that. So,
Hmm.
but presents maybe. I like going to movies on like Tuesday nights.
Oh yeah,
Because it's like there's
nobody
nobody there
there.
and
Hmm.
it's like half off. It's super cheap to go. So,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
presents. Maybe that would be my Tuesday movie next week.
Dude, solid. And it's funny that you mentioned Tuesdays because I don't know if it's everywhere, but
You just froze for me, just for a second. There we go.
okay.
All right.
I don't know what's
Was
going
that
on
me or
here, damn
you? I don't
rascal. I
know.
thought it was on my end.
Okay.
Sorry, it was trying to tell me that I had an hour left. I put a timer on this, so I'm not on this bitch all day long. I hate it, but every once in a while it's on here. No, but we have at our local theaters here, like it's like a cinema carousel, and they have. Tuesday nights they have like half off movies, so that's even better. Like just a boring ass night and fucking. But Hard Eyes, I'm really excited for that. That's gonna be sick.
Cannot wait for that. Just the
Mm,
trailer
looks
alone. The trailer showed a lot. It showed too much, I think, but
maybe.
it looks like it's going to be pretty bloody, and I'm
Yeah,
excited to see
yeah.
that. Yeah.
There was like that very Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake shot where it's like she has the hole through her throat and that like pans through. I
Yes.
was just like, oh,
Yes. Yes.
this might be good. Okay, okay.
Yes. I know exactly. I thought that too because weren't they like even in like a van or something?
Something like that.
She
Yeah,
has
like a
something like
vehicle of some sort.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So sick. So, I mean, as far as you and like all of the awesome collection that you have behind here, even maybe just to
Thanks.
kick things off with something fun, as far as a couple of things that you've picked up recently. Maybe it's online, a local shop from you. What are a couple? What are some of the more recent movies that you've got? Maybe two or
Oh
three.
God. They're actually, I wasn't expecting this, but they have a little stack over here. Hold on one second. Let me go grab
Okay,
it.
okay. I was just thinking as we put this on, I'm like, this is kind of a fun little bit to see
Okay, okay, okay,
what
okay,
good,
okay, okay, okay.
interesting stuff we got.
All right, couple things here.
Okay,
So I have my hands in a lot of different places to find things because you have to if you want to find good shit nowadays,
totally.
Like you can't just rely on going to the thrift stores. I mean, you can if you want to, but like it's
Hmm.
going to take forever to find stuff, and I'm really impatient. So, uh, so some of this is from like a Facebook, not marketplace, but like one of the Facebook VHS groups. People do like fire sales. So a couple from a fire sales. One is actually from a Goodwill. So I'll start with that one, and it's called Senegor. Have you ever heard of this movie?
No.
I've never heard this before in my
Oh
life.
my god, it looks awesome.
Definitely coming home with me. Um, it's something about some science experiment gone wrong, and
Of course.
that's what you get with that. So stoked on that.
Oh
Um, from the
my
Facebook
god.
fire sale. So I like horror movies, and I also like 80s sex comedies. I'm like a big fan
Sure,
of those as well.
sure.
So Summer Job. I just recently picked Summer Job
Oh,
up.
oh man,
I
that looks
had a
sick.
copy of this a while ago, but it was a cut box. And a friend of mine, she loved that movie and was wanting the copy of it forever.
Mhm.
And being a good guy I am, I'm like, here, I will make sure you get this. So sent that to
So
her,
sick.
but now I had to replace it for myself. So finally did
Who
that. And
who is in
then,
that movie?
so this one, let's
Um,
see if there's any people that you would know. Honestly, I don't know these actors' names: Sherry Rose, James Summer, Amy Baxter, Carrie Mayer,
No.
Renee Sugar.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
this wasn't the one I was thinking
someone
of. Never mind.
just named Chantel. So, um, no one I really recognize. Do you recognize any of those bikini babes? Yeah, I don't
Not
know.
not yet.
Yeah.
Let me get a magnifying glass.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So those and Drop Dead Fred on tape.
Oh, sick. It's awesome.
This was something I grew up watching all the time, and for whatever reason didn't have it on tape.
Okay.
So now I do. So that's a few
Okay.
things. Yeah,
Dude.
recent
Yeah.
pickups.
I love that.
Oh,
That's awesome. I
one more
love
thing,
sure,
one more
sure.
thing, one more thing. Is this I like steelbooks too. You know, like I said, I got my hands in everything.
Mhm.
Kill Bill steelbook.
Oh, damn. Okay. Have you watched that yet? I
Uh,
mean, that copy?
Not this copy. I just got it in like yesterday.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
can't
It's
wait though.
dude, I've had DVD for so long, and then I started, picking up more Blu-ray, and then 4K had been around for a little bit, and I've got quite a few, but
Mm-hmm.
it's always interesting to see, some of the copies where you watch them and you're like, well, this just looks like the fucking Blu-ray. But then other copies, like
Exactly.
something that might be, like this Kill Bill where it's like, oh my God, this looks
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Well, I'm
So it's,
excited to see it because I was watching my just the DVD of Volume Two not that long ago, and there's certain parts of it. I don't know if you've ever experienced this with like when you're watching a movie and it's usually like on a DVD when there's a scene in the movie where maybe like a little bit of dialogue but hardly any noise, like the sound just completely drops out of the background. You
oh,
know what I'm
okay.
talking about? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so that kept happening, and I'm like, that's fucking annoying. So hopefully the sound is fixed in this, and I don't have to deal with that anymore. So
No, there's definitely like copies of movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I have that on DVD,
yeah.
and I've never gotten anything else. Like I love the art that Second Sight did for the 4K, and I love
Mm-hmm.
the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that Vinegar Syndrome came out with for Texas Chainsaw
Part
2. But
two.
I'm just like,
Yep.
I just really want these movies not quite VHS because like a lot of times it's just straight up black and you can't fucking
Mm-hmm.
see anything. But the
Yep.
DVD quality was always just like
That's all you need.
horrifying,
Yeah.
horrifying.
That's all
Yeah.
you need because I remember. I think it was a movie. What's it called? All Hallows Eve 2.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Uh, there's it's like an anthology, but the wraparound, it's about like this character who gets a blank VHS tape on Halloween, like at their door, and they watch it. And she's on the phone with her friends, and she's like, "Who's at the door?" She goes, "I don't know, but they just left the VHS tape." And they're like, like you put in like a VCR, and she's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You still have a VCR?" She goes, "Of course I do. Have you seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Blu-ray? Everything looks fake, you know."
Mm.
So
Yeah, yeah. There's a little too much polish to it. It's like
I don't know. No.
I I can say I've also seen some movies on 4K that I'm not so uppity with to where I remember the DVD copy or the Blu-ray copy that I have, and like there's moments that you're straight up not seeing what's going on, like whatsoever around the main character, and
Yeah.
then you kind of get some of that. It's not to say that it's showing off all of the gags or some of the shit that they were trying to hide as far as pulling off gore effects or anything. But there've been other times where I'm like, oh damn, like I didn't think I would see a copy of something like this with like the clarity. So
Right, or
it's a
even like
balance.
yeah, well, I think like remember the Ewok movies, from
Oh
the
yeah.
80s?
Uh
Okay.
huh. Uh huh.
Well, remember the big spider that like attacks them at one point?
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
on the tape you don't see it, but on like the DVD you can see like all the strings pulling like the spider's legs and stuff like that. So, I don't even know if that movie has like a Blu-ray of it yet.
Yeah.
So, but if it does, I'm sure that just looks
They
wonderful.
weren't
Yeah,
ready for
in high
that
def.
quality.
No.
So I mean, you growing up, Derek, like prior to any of this, what were some things that were keeping you and your friends' interest and just having fun with and common interests that you had coming up?
Oh God. So like obviously horror has always been a big part of my life ever since I was a kid. Other than that, like I was huge into like X-Men, back in like the early 90s, like the X-Men animated series. huge into that. I was a big karate nerd too. I loved anything
That's it.
martial arts and karate. And my mom, signed me up for Aikido at one point. Got a black belt in that. Don't ask me if I remember anything, because I don't. Um, Also, a huge gamer. I've always loved video games, especially like fighting games and horror games and things like
Oh
that.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean that's just a few things. Yeah.
dude. What I mean, for being a young guy and for a young kid, I feel like that's it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
universal, but it's
Mm-hmm.
always fun, even within that, how you mentioned like kind of like in the fighting games or, certain like, wrestling video games, that there
Oh,
was like
love
the
wrestling too. Yes,
WWF and yeah,
absolutely.
oh hell
Yes,
yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Um, I mean, and Goldeneye. I mean, can we talk about this for a second? Was that anything to you
I
at
was
all or?
okay. I was not an N64 person. So are you talking?
Oof.
I know. So
Sure.
GoldenEye was N64,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I did not own that
Uh,
console, so
oh
I
man.
don't have any sort of like reference for that. I know it was popular. I know a
Okay.
lot of my friends played it. I just never did. But we can talk about it if you want to. I just don't
Did
know
you
how much
did
I'll be able to contribute.
did you have Genesis?
I had okay. So let me think. The first thing I remember having was just like the regular Nintendo, right?
Okay.
So I was born in like '86, so
Hmm.
I'm kind of like on the latter end of like the '80s. But my brothers had Atari, but I think it was like broken by the time I remember even getting ready to
Of
want to play
course.
with that. They broke it. They were really rough on stuff. I
Uh,
remember like even like if I was playing like a game with my brother, uh, or just sitting next to him and he fucked up and lost, he would get so mad and like throw the controller at me like it was my fault. So they were rough on stuff. So Nintendo, Super Nintendo, that came out. We had Sega Genesis, and
okay.
then the next thing I remember us getting was the PlayStation when that
Oh,
came out. Yeah,
okay.
so
Okay.
we never did the Dreamcast or the 64 or anything like that. So
Man, dude, the Genesis. I was asking about that because there was a game and I don't really remember what it would have been called, but it was a Jurassic Park game, and you could either play Sam Neill's character from my memory or a Velociraptor. Does this come to mind?
no, I didn't play that. No,
Fuck. I
no.
swear I'm not lying. Like
Um,
I've got to
maybe
look
yeah.
into this now that I'm like thinking of this. Or if anybody, is listening and remembers what this video game was. I swear there was like either at the beginning or kind of at a midpoint where you could have this like action, hero, like a blue shirt and khakis running around doing his shit. And then at whatever point you could choose to play a velociraptor and run around eating people and shit. It was just like,
I mean, that sounds amazing. I would have loved to have played that, but
God
no, that one never
damn
came
it.
across my
I'll look it.
consoles. Yeah.
I'll look it up and see. I never had a Genesis, but there was always like there was different games. Like some of the Sonic games were always sick, and some buddies had it. But
Oh,
one
big
friend had
Sonic
the
fan.
Jurassic
Yeah.
Park. Yeah. uh,
Yes.
what
Serious on that game. Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking Mortal Kombat, who was your guy or girl? What
Okay.
character were?
So if you're talking like Mortal Kombat 1,
Mm-hmm.
big on Sub Zero and Sonya. If you're talking MK2, Melina and Reptile.
Mm-hmm.
Those have kind of been like
Okay,
my mains, like to this day. I still love the Reptile Melina. Yeah. Those are kind of like the two I go to. Yeah.
man.
Do you still
Have you played any of the
play?
recent?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with Mortal Kombat 1.
Dude, there is I can't remember what the last have you played any of the newer ones though? I should
Yeah,
ask.
no, like MK1. Yeah, the one that's out
Oh,
now.
okay, I'm sorry. That's
Yeah,
what it's called. Yeah, duh.
it's
That's
called
what it's called.
MK1. Yeah.
Dude,
I played them all. So if you want to talk Mortal Kombat, I could talk your ear off about Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
those games are fucking awesome. And the newer ones, like the storylines that they have going with them and some of the gore and fatal holy shit,
Oh yeah.
man. Like talk about something that could have been lost millennium ago.
I know.
Somehow like just as cool if not cooler. Like
It's still just as popular. I
yeah.
mean, I love the movies
Mm-hmm.
still to this day.
Yeah.
Well, the ones from the '90s. I wasn't too crazy about the one that came out a couple years ago.
Okay.
Um, but I've heard they're making another one. I think they're making a sequel to
A
that, right?
sequel to that. Yeah, to this newest one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I mean, I'll watch
I
it.
thought it was pretty
Yeah.
cool. You know, I
Yeah.
I try my hardest to go into things, with just like I want to be a fan of this,
Hmm.
and there's just times that you walk out of it and you're like, hey, the Northman did not work.
Man, fuck the
I'm just,
Northmen. Yeah.
I'm not in love with this.
No.
But yeah, but yeah, dude, and then like them incorporating some of like the horror movie characters, and like I think it was like Leatherface and like
Yeah.
Ghostface were on the
Ghostface is in
last one.
this current one. They've had Xenomorph, from Alien,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Predator. They've
okay,
had
yep.
Jason, Freddy. Uh, I'm sure. Yeah, you said Leatherface. I'm
Hmm.
sure I'm missing some, but yeah, they've hit like almost all the icons except for maybe like Myers and Candyman. You
Oh, okay.
know, Chucky,
Michael.
stuff
I
like
was
that.
thinking Michael
Yeah,
Myers was in it. He wasn't in it though.
not yet. No, I would love for that though, because that's my guy.
Dude, holy shit, you ain't lying. I mean, as far as you coming up and we have these interests and film kind of gets a little bit more into something coming in mind, your relationship with the movie theaters and video rentals, was that something that was big with you guys when you were coming up?
Yeah. Like, I was mostly like maybe like a preteen when I started going to the theater more. So we were definitely more of like a movie rental family. Um, Specifically at the gas station that was like below my house was like a gas station, and they had like a wire rack with movie rentals, and so we'd go in there. I mean, it, shit smelled like cigarettes when you go in there, but this is when they still had like video poker machines before that got outlawed in South Carolina, before like the evangelicals rose up and said, no, you can't gamble anymore. Um,
Video poker?
Video poker,
What's that?
yeah. You know what video poker is? The poker machines, you put your money in and you try to win. Yeah.
Oh, oh,
Like at a
oh, okay.
casino,
I got you.
you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
video
I got
poker.
you. I was
Yeah.
thinking you were talking something about like a movie or a televised like
Oh, no,
broadcast. It's like,
no,
what the
no,
fuck are you
no.
talking about?
Yeah,
Got
video
it.
poker
Okay.
machines. So
Yep,
you go
yep.
in there, all the ladies, blowing their entire week's check at the video poker, smoking their cigarettes, and you browse the rack to see what movies they had that week. And so that's what we did, as long as we didn't have like an enormous late fee, which we usually did. So uh, we would go there. My brother's friend's mom actually worked there, and she would give us the hookup every now and then.
Okay.
So she was the reason why I got to see like the sleepaway camp at like age 6.
Oh,
So
man.
um, I don't think she actually knew. Like she just said, "Oh, here's a scary movie. Here, watch this, and I know you like them." So it's like, yeah, I love that movie. I love them. So, but yeah, maybe 6 was too young to watch Sleepaway Camp. Now that I think about it,
Well,
you
I
know,
mean, like, do you recollect, coming to that end and being like,
I do, I do. I actually do remember seeing all of that and not being sure what to think, but I definitely knew like I cannot let my mom know that I'll watch this.
I have so many questions, but my parents will just never let me go over my friend's house again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh.
yeah. So, but like, here's the thing. Okay, my mom didn't care what I watched. Really, she was cool. Like, she'd let me watch anything R-rated. I could hear anything with like language. Fine, I could see people getting decapitated. But the one rule is, if there's boobies, I have to cover my eyes. Right. So,
Okay.
nudity was the only thing I couldn't see.
Okay.
But
All right. Fair enough. Hey,
her rule.
and even if parents aren't around, it's like you can just sit there like having one of those situations.
Oh yeah, if they're not around, all
Yeah.
bets are off. But like if I'm sitting there, because my mom was a big movie buff too. That's kind of how I got into it. Was like,
Yeah.
because like all the stuff that she'd bring home, I'd watch it with her,
Okay.
and she just she'd reach over and just go cover my eyes during
Hmm.
the booby scenes. So
Does she ever tell you stories about like her coming up and kind of being introduced to some of the stuff that was new and like just coming out when she was younger, and then now it's like a classic when you're
she
coming up?
yeah she remember I remember her talking not a whole lot, but I do remember her mentioning like going to see The Exorcist when that came out and it freaking her out, and she went home and threw away her Ouija board that she had.
Oh,
It really freaked her out.
oh man.
Uh, it, so that was one of the movies that was like that. Okay, I did say she didn't care what I watched. That was a movie that she put like a ban on. She says you cannot watch this. So
Oh man. And this is
I
coming from
didn't
a personal place.
yes,
She's like, no, I've been there.
yeah. My mom is she's kind of a superstitious person too. So
Okay.
I think she's one of these people that believes something can get you from the TV, or if you watch it, or if you invite evil into your
Mm-hmm.
house, it might can mess with you. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, The Exorcist was on the banned list, so I actually didn't get to see that until high school.
Oh man.
But so I remember that, and then I remember her. Let's see, like Aliens. I remember her telling me about Aliens. I had this random memory in my head of back in the summer. We were talking about movies, and she's like, "Oh yeah," and they're just in Aliens. She has to fight this big monster, and it's as tall as this tree out here. I'm like, "What? We gotta go see that." So we went and rented it later that day, and then we watched Aliens together.
Oh no, God,
Yeah.
dude, that's so awesome. Like, there's something about reading, a synopsis or, having something where it's online and it tells you, the kind of refines of what it is that you're getting into with this versus a parent, a neighbor, a buddy, somebody else just being like, dude, there's a fucking alien in this movie that's taller than these trees. Like,
Yes.
you will
Yes.
never imagine like how this all pans out. They have to run away. They're in space. It's just it paints such a visual and there's such a picture and like I think that's kind of like a funny thing when you have something like Jaws that's as infamous as it is because of the fact of that it leaves so much to your imagination to where it's like
Yep.
that's kind of right along the same like balancing point of like you hearing somebody talking about something that just absolutely sells it for you like well
Oh yeah. Well, what
gotta
about
watch
you? Did you have a
this.
parent that like got you into all this, or did you just discover it on your own?
Honestly, my parents were like I grew up very old school Christian, like they weren't really fucking with a whole lot of
Same.
that type of
Yeah.
stuff. They had a couple of moments where for some reason they rented one weekend Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I've still to this day never seen that movie. But I had to go to my room
What?
because they were
Okay.
watching it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe it's kind of weird. Maybe now that I like say that out loud, maybe it's like a subliminal thing where I'm like, oh, I didn't get to watch it then. I'm not watching
You.
it.
All right.
I don't know.
So
Honestly, I just like thought about this.
I
I had to go to my room and I couldn't watch it, and I haven't seen it still to this
I'm a
day.
big cheerleader for that movie. So
Okay.
please watch it
Okay.
if you get a chance.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've told a lot of people that I have to get on it and it hasn't happened, but I'm gonna say right here, I will get on it. I'm gonna
Get
get on
on
it and
it.
check it
Get
out.
on it.
But
Much better than Nosferatu, in
oof.
my opinion.
That's what that's what I've heard. And that's another one that's just a classic, for the reason of it being too, just incredible. And like there was other memories of I think more or less just my parents. My dad's always a really big baseball lover, and so he always wanted to watch the movie For the Love of the Game.
Okay.
Do you remember that with like Kevin
I
Costner?
I do. I've never seen it, but I
Okay.
do. Yeah.
Well,
Sports movies aren't really my thing.
right,
Yeah.
right. Coincidentally, I guess I could say that all these years later, come to find out, Sam Raimi directed that. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay. I mean, that's like kind of sick. That gives it a little bit more points. But nothing too crazy as far as horror.
Yeah.
Like my grandma had a bunch of horror VHS tapes, and that was kind of my introduction to the genre. But honestly, it was more like my brothers and such that had, kind of, hey, there's this movie where this guy, gets his mask knocked off, and he's like this like bunny creature type thing, being the Funhouse, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, what, and then you come across that, it's like it's even more terrifying than you were telling me about. Like that thing is fucking awful.
God, the Funhouse, man. Okay, that's one I watched like as an adult, and I think it's one of those that if you watched as a kid, you would appreciate it so much more.
Sure.
But
Okay.
when I watched it as an adult, I'm just like, man, there's something just I don't know. Like didn't love it, but the monster
Mm-hmm.
incredible for sure. Yeah.
One of the first movies or horror movies I was introduced to when I was like a little kid, and dude, that fucked me up. That mask getting knocked off and just seeing
Yes.
that thing, I'm like, oh my god. You
Hmm.
don't
Yeah.
know. You're like, these things
I know.
exist.
Yeah.
This guy next door, I've never seen my neighbor. Like,
out there. Yeah.
How do I know? God, I mean, within all of these kind of realms, and and theaters and rentals and all that. I mean, like, is there anything that comes to mind from some of the movies that you've watched over the years, as far as like a subliminal or like an irrational fear, something that you saw and it's just like that could never actually bother me, but here I am.
You know, okay. I will never look in the mirror and say Candyman 5 times. I won't do it. Won't do that at all. Mm-mm. That's always stuck with me. Absolutely won't do it. The ghost of Tony Todd will come and rip my throat out. That's it, folks. So, Candyman was one. I remember seeing that at a young age too, and it kind of fucked me up. Especially like that scene where she's getting told by the workers at the school, the urban legend of Candyman, and that like
Yeah,
flashback thing they have.
yeah,
Terrifying. Oh my god.
dude.
So that movie fucked me up.
That secondhand story. You know what's even like just as scary though is you saying the ghost of Tony Todd, and with Tony Todd being passed now, it's
Uh,
like
R.I.P.
that. But that almost is like even more scary now with like trying to look into a mirror and be like, "Ooh, this
Not
motherfucker
doing
isn't
it.
even around
Nope.
around anymore."
Not doing that. I really won't get in ocean water too because of Jaws, but I think
Okay,
that's
I was
pretty
gonna ask.
rational.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
Sure,
rational, right?
sure,
So,
sure.
but you're asking for irrational. Yeah, I won't look in a mirror and say
Right.
Candyman. So, oh, but
Okay.
I'm
Well,
saying it. I'm thinking I'm at like 2 or 3 times
two.
now looking at
Yeah.
myself. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it
This
anymore.
could be
What
fucked. Okay.
What
Yeah.
about you? Do you have any
Not good.
irrational fears?
Honestly, like that was it's probably the water. I saw. I mean, Jaws was the first horror movie that I had saw as a little kid, and it was supposed to help me from keeping away from a concussion that I had gotten. And I just wanted to go to sleep. I just wanted to like not be watching that. And then we live in Michigan, so we're surrounded by fresh water,
Right.
and so generally anytime my feet aren't touching, I'm like, I'm coming back
Yeah.
in. Um, and then I don't know what it was, if it was maybe closer to like 5 years ago or so, they started saying it was either bull or tiger sharks were swimming into or into the Great Lakes through the river stream from the ocean.
Bull sharks, I think. They can do
It
fresh water,
was a
right?
bull
Yeah.
sharks. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Don't
I'm like,
like that.
okay,
Mm-mm.
well, wow, here we are.
There's no need. There is no need to get in.
dude, dude.
There's no
Oh my
need.
god.
That
Absolutely
is
insane. Yeah,
ignorant. Don't do
uh
it.
oh my lord. Yeah, there's just I mean and we can go on and on. Like I was a huge fan when I was young of horror movies, but there was also like the fact that they scared me. I mean they
Hmm.
like they really kind of laid into that fear of seeing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I puked the first time that I saw that. I don't know if it was like
Oh,
11 or
wow.
12, but physically I was just like I can't handle this. Like this
Yeah.
gritty ass VHS, this dude popping out of the woods and sawing somebody in half. You're just like, oh
No,
my
it's
god.
intense. It's like, especially, well, just the sound design and everything, and like everything
Mm-hmm.
is just
The
so
score.
intense in that movie. Like, it's an assault on the
Yeah.
senses for sure,
Yeah.
So it's disorienting.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll fuck you up. Oh, another one too, arachnophobia. I had never wanted to put my feet in shoes,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
and
Yeah.
like, or even like taking a shower, like when I would close my eyes, I would imagine there's a spider like, crawling on my head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that movie kind of fucked me up too.
Oh man, dude. I like animals attack movies. That was always something that was always like a favorite too. Like with whether it was snakes or like bears or like something even like Backcountry. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
Oh,
Um,
I've got it. Okay, in my to be watched pile. No, or wait, not back country. I'm thinking of something called Backwoods. Never mind. Different movie.
oh, okay, differently. This movie has Eric Balfour in it, who is in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Hmm.
Um, it's grisly, and it's very like plausible. I don't know if it was based on something, but there's this like grisly trail basically that this couple gets lost on. The guy's trying to be a badass and not use his compass or bring a map or anything, and they yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna full on spoil it, but That movie is rough.
So
I
it's
can't
about
remember the director's
bears. It's
done.
like a bear movie. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And somebody, I can't remember the director offhand, but he's done like a couple other things too, like pretty notable in horror as well. Um, fuck, I can't think of his name right now. But that movie is awesome. I think it's on like Prime.
I
Um,
think I've seen the post, like the thumbnail for it before. Yeah.
it's solid.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you ever get a chance, man, that's a good one.
I'll check it out.
So I mean, you mentioned your parents and their interest. Was your dad big into horror, or
No,
was he
hell
big into
no.
anything like that?
My okay, so like my dad is a big redneck. He loved NASCAR, and
Sure. Okay.
NASCAR and wrestling. He loved. So I got into wrestling from him. I did not pick up the NASCAR gene. Like I think that is boring as all fuck. I cannot stand
Brother,
NASCAR.
man.
Um, but no disrespect to those who like it. I just can't stand it. Uh,
Mm.
and he's a big like Gunsmoke fan, so like old westerns, like he loves that stuff. So there's no like overlapping interest for me and my dad is very very few. So we have like the one thing we have is wrestling. I'll watch that with him.
Okay. Are we talking like 80s, 90s,
He watched
even
it
recently?
all. He
Okay.
still watches it, yeah. But yeah, he grew up like during the territory days. He'd actually go to the shows and would take like my brothers and my sister. So I'm the baby of like the bunch, and
Oh,
so I
okay.
kind of got to
Okay.
miss out on a lot of the fun stuff.
Okay.
But no, he would still watch it. So like through the early '90s, I didn't get into it much until like the late '90s. But yeah, he still watches it to this day.
Damn, dude, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Like myself, I was the youngest, and so I have older brothers, and they were very, very big into, into wrestling and into, thrash metal and, different things like that. So it was like, I didn't really have the opportunity to escape this realm. It's like, it was
Yeah.
there since I was
Yeah.
little, like,
Yeah.
how do I not love it?
Oh, I wish my dad was into thrash metal, but he's more of a country guy, Garth Brooks and shit like
There you
that.
go.
So,
Hey
yeah,
man, but you guys have the ocean right there and just the summer breeze and a a couple of Budweisers.
yeah,
Some Garth Brooks will do it,
that's fine.
It'll be all right.
Listen, I like Garth Brooks. That's fine with me. That is fine.
uh, so what I was
Sorry.
just thinking of something. I was like, I'm not going to bring this any further. What are some early watches that come to mind? You kind of mentioned the Fun House. Something that maybe you've watched early on and revisited, the last couple of years. It's like, man, this is not as good as I remember it was.
Oh God, let me think. Shit, that's a tough one because like nostalgia will almost trump anything for me. Like it's
Mm,
hard for me to be objective, sometimes when I think back to like a memory of me watching the movie when I was a kid and I liked it. I'm trying to think of something that did not hold up.
okay.
Uh,
I mean, I'll toss out an example while you
yeah,
think
give me
too.
one. Yeah,
Do you remember the movie Little Monsters?
perfect example. Yes, I will 100% agree with that. Yes.
Dude, I watched it recently and I was just like, this guy sucks. Like he's
Yes.
really fucking mean, just being like cruel to these kids. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, I've got one though.
okay, all right.
Yes. Little Monsters. Yeah, like I said, when you're a kid, you appreciate it more because oh my god, it's
Yeah,
a monster coming out of the bed. There's the
yeah,
horror
right.
element to it, and they go
Yeah,
into that like underground world and stuff.
yeah.
Um, but for me, it was like Close Encounters. I think
Close.
this is
Oh,
not Close
yeah,
Encounters of the
okay,
Third
okay. The
Kind.
third kind,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like the dad's kind of an asshole. He just kind of fuck you to his whole family, and like I'm gonna go hang out with these aliens. I'll see you guys later. And he pieces
Yeah,
out from his wife and kids. I'm like, what the? This guy's kind of a dick,
yeah. Well, what's going on here? How are we actually painting this picture here? It's not
Yeah.
so black and white, okay? There's people behind that door.
Um, James in the comments said Invaders from Mars.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
are we talking the
actually
Toby Hooper one or
I
the '50s one?
think the Toby Hooper one. Yeah. We've
Okay,
actually James is like one of my best friends,
okay,
so
sick.
we've actually had this conversation too.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not as a kid. kid, maybe something that you would kind of think is cool because I think when the main protagonist is a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and you can identify with that. But
Yep.
yeah, watching it as an adult, it's just kind of
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. I watched it. I don't know. I was pretty young too, and I had a lot of fun with it. But now that I think about it, I haven't seen it since whenever that would have been, 15, 16. So,
Yeah,
might be a different outcome.
yeah.
We'll see. Sure. Now,
Oh, okay.
okay.
This might be controversial,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I know what you did last summer. It's a little boring until you get to like Sarah Michelle Gellar's big chase scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not a whole
I could
lot
see that.
happens in that movie until like that moment.
I think like going back to that too, when you have something come out, because Scream came out first,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm like trying to like catalog as far as like timeline. When you have something that comes out like Scream, obviously you're gonna have like the kind of copycat type things and different movies and whatnot. It was like I feel like so many of us just wanted more of that realm where it was like the hot teenagers and somebody making out and maybe somebody banging in the back room and fucking football players and
Yeah.
varsity blues and just all that type of shit. But I think you're right. Like going back and watching it because I'd gotten this box set and like these aren't that great.
Well, and the only reason I remember that is because who's like in her early 20s now, but she would come and spend the night with me, and like she brought like a friend one time, and they're like, Derek, let's watch this scary movie. Like, what would you recommend? Like, we've seen Scream, give us something like Scream. I'm like, oh, how about I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna watch it with them. I was sitting down there, and I'm like, damn, this shit's kind of boring. Like, uh, they make you really work for it until the big chase scene. So, and I was looking over at them, they were all like playing on their phones, completely tuned out,
uh,
like
uh,
so. Yeah,
that's the worst.
unfortunately, that one. I know. Yeah. Put your
Man,
phones
oh
down,
man.
bitches. Yeah. I just pulled out this
uh,
boring movie for you. Watch it.
oh, it's so relatable.
Hmm.
There's my boy is 16, and so when we have movies every once in a while, we'll be on the couch or something like that, and it's just like I'll kind of give like a breakdown of a couple, and whether it's my from my collection or streaming, and so he'll like pick something, and they'll be like 20 minutes in or whatever, and I'm just like kind of hanging out, and I like look over, and it's like on his phone, like, what the
Oh,
fuck are you doing?
I know it
Like,
sucks. It was that. I know you've seen that meme. It's like when you're trying to show someone a movie and they get to go to the restroom and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna pause it." They're, oh no, just don't pause it.
yeah,
Keep it playing.
just keep
It's
it
like,
playing.
ouch. I know exactly how that feels.
Like
It
you
hurts.
little
I
bastard, it's
know.
like, dude, I could watch other stuff. Like if you're not interested, like just
Yeah.
dip out. Oh man, that's funny. Now this is one of my favorites personally. As far as these conversations and some things I get to bring up, but three scenes that are just forever ingrained in your brain, and I think this is kind of fun because whether it's in horror or outside of. Sometimes it's even the scenes that we see outside of horror that end up popping up, and you're like, whoa, I was not expecting that. Maybe
Okay.
shocking, disgusting. What are a couple that come to mind to you?
I'll give you a disgusting one. And I've mentioned this a couple times on some different uh podcasts I've been on,
Mm-hmm.
but like Day of the Dead, like the ripping
Oh, yeah.
apart of like all the dudes, what and the reason why that one sticks out to me is because I remember watching that one early Saturday morning with my older brother, and we're sitting there eating our fucking like fruity pebbles, Lucky Charms, whatever, and that scene starts to take place, and like you see all the blood and the guts, and everybody's getting fucked up, and then all of a sudden I hear my brother start to gag, and I look over and he just pukes up all his cereal that he just watched. So that one will forever be ingrained in my brain, only because yeah, my brother. Well, first of all, it's gory as hell, and
Yeah,
like
of
it's
course.
brutal. He'll get ripped apart. But yeah, just because my asshole brother is also puking, and that's love to see that. Let's see another
Oh
scene that
my
stood out. Okay,
God.
so I'm sticking with Arrow, Night of the Living Dead when Barbara gets her end, when she opens the door and Johnny grabs her. I remember just being so shocked seeing that because no, that's supposed to be the final girl. She's supposed to live. That one kind of
Okay.
sticks out to me.
Okay.
What else? Shit. Oh, the meat hook scene in Texas Chainsaw. God damn.
Dude.
Yeah.
That scene is like even still like I don't know when the last time maybe even you watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. I was trying to look because
Next
I got this.
Generation.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I'll watch that movie at least twice a year. I love that movie.
Dude,
Heather, that poor girl gets beat the fuck up like through the whole movie.
listen, I have not seen that movie since being maybe a teenager. I don't know if I maybe was 13 or so. My buddy Ryan and I, we always watch movies together. Um, I definitely have not seen it since that point, and I remember hating it.
Yeah.
I liked the first three movies. Part four is just like, what is going on? Like an absolute insane ending that I don't think even if somebody had like a brilliant answer for me, I would say makes sense. But I put it on the other day, and I'm just like, dude, like I'm texting my buddy Ryan. I'm like, this movie rocks.
I love part four. Like I'm
It's
huge.
insane.
I'm the president of the Next Generation fan club. Like love part four. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Wow, no shit.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I'd gotten this silly
I turned a lot of
armadillo
my friends onto it
tattoo.
as well. You have a what tattoo?
I said I got this silly armadillo tattoo,
You do.
and
Oh,
so I was trying to
saw that.
see
Yeah.
if part four had one in it because I'm like, I remember there's one in all three of the original, but I don't remember in four in Next Generation. So I watched it. I'm like, dude, this movie is fucking great.
Incredible. Like it's got a lot of great characters.
Uh huh.
It's got some amazing chase scenes in it. I mean, poor Renee Zellweger. I mean, she runs through the woods for it feels like an hour getting chased by Leatherface. You can tell of a chase scene. Me and my friends, we always talk about chase scenes in movies. But I see James in the comments over here. He used to
Uh-huh.
hate that movie.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Same.
I'm like, no, like rewatch it, like under the lens of like it is wacky, but it's got some really great stuff in it. Like just really try to watch it, maybe just for like the camp factor. And so if you go into it just expecting a little campiness, I think you can kind of enjoy yourself.
Well, the weird thing is though too is like I wasn't ever mad at that aspect because like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I mean for a long time has been one of my favorites.
And it's wacky as
I
hell.
love
Yeah.
the wackiness in that, and because it almost like makes it that much more jarring when the scary things do happen.
Yep.
Out of all the kind of like comedic relief that happens with it. you
Like
know,
in the radio station, he just bursts out of the dark closet,
dude.
out of nowhere. Yeah. I mean, my soul left my body when I first saw
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
tell me about a single scene in horror that like would trump that in like a top 20 at least,
Exactly. And
top 15. Like
it was kind of
that
like
is
a
scary as
Exorcist 3
fuck.
moment,
Yeah,
like
right.
just as far as jump scenes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love
Mm.
that. I mean, something like, and this is something. I mean, some of these aren't necessarily subgenres, but they're kind of like I feel like something that we talk about a lot, here on Instagram, where things within horror, how we love. Oh, we're having this month where we're digging into these or this here. So I wanted to ask you about a couple here. And as far as something that comes to mind with a foreign to the U.S. a release, what's a favorite that comes to mind for you?
Something recent, and when I say recent, within the past like couple years. Did you ever see One Cut of the Dead?
Oh, dude, I'm embarrassed. I have not,
Had not
and
seen
I'm
that
like
one. Yeah. Have you heard
excited.
of it though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I thought that was incredible. It's like I guess
The
you'd call it.
Taiwanese?
Yeah, I think it's Japanese.
Oh, is it?
I think
Oh,
it's
okay, okay,
Japanese.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Big fan of that. It's one cut, kind of. So that's cool. Uh, I don't want to say a whole lot about it. It's one of those movies where you need to go in knowing as little as possible about it. So I'm just going to leave
Okay,
it at that. Yeah.
okay, okay. I mean, I'm a little engaged by you. I mean, you saying that one cut, like no editing, like it was front to back filmed.
There are, I think, a couple of cuts.
Oh,
But
okay,
the premise of it is it's just like one, big cut.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, dude, that's. I
Hmm.
mean, that's always fun. When you pull it off, like
Yeah,
Beautiful,
it's got
beautiful.
great
The
characters
magic.
too. Yeah,
Okay,
it's got some good comedy stuff. It's got some good gore into it. Yeah, give that a try. Yeah, I think
I
you'd
need to
like
hop
that.
on it. Bram Stoker's Dracula and fucking
One Cut
one
of the
cut.
Dead.
All right, I gotta take notes. All right, a vampire movie. I'm not a big
Vamp.
vampire boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's a hit or miss, but
yeah,
I'm engaged to hear. What's a favorite of yours?
man. There's so many. I'm a big vampire fan, so
Okay,
I'll pick. Can I just throw out a couple? I mean, do I just
sure,
pick one? Okay,
absolutely.
so Fright Night Part Two. Fan of that
Oh,
one. Love
dude,
Fright
that
Night Part
coffin
Two.
case that you have.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I hate interrupting.
her. Yeah.
Who put that out?
It's an Australian release. It was like a I mean it's a CBS Fox, it's a Fox one. So it was just a promo case that for whatever reason just in Australia they did this. But it's got the actual movie inside of it too
Fuck my
on
life.
tape. Yeah. This has been on my want list for ever, as long as I can remember being aware of this thing. So uh, so stoked to finally have that. It took several eBay gift cards that I was saving up to to get
Oh,
it,
oh
but
my god,
finally
that
got that
is
one. So
sick.
Fright Night 2 for sure, and one of my all-time favorite movies is the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie from the early '90s. I grew up watching that
Okay,
all the time. Yeah,
okay,
big
okay.
fan of that one
Let's.
too. And of course the regular Fright Night.
Mhm.
I love the Lost Boys. Uh, all the popular ones. So yeah,
Sure. Okay.
you're
Yeah.
not the only
You know.
one. I have friend James. I can keep mentioning James, and we talk about this all the time. He is not a
Uh,
vampire person either. He does not like vampire movies, and I just want to shake him for it. Because I feel like he's missing out on so many good movies. He did watch Lost Boys, and I think he was a fan of that one.
okay.
But I mean, I'm like, dude, you're missing out on Fright Night. You're missing out on Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like, there's so many good movies out here.
Hmm.
I just feel like you're just completely taking it just a big marker through an entire genre of movies.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well, I have to say, like, Lost Boys was cool. I had fun with that. But when I go back and I watch it, I'm just like, it's fine. I don't necessarily want to say that. I mean, that I even dislike it.
yeah,
It's not really like a go-to or like a sell where I'm going to say, oh, I'm fully invested in every vampire movie that comes out, X, Y, Z. But Fright Night Part Two, dude, I'm there.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Count me in.
yeah.
From dusk till dawn.
Love, love, yes.
I mean, if we're going to talk about, like a movie that is one genre and mixes all the way into like a bone tomahawk type situation, we're talking
Hmm.
about From Dusk Till Dawn. That
Yeah.
movie, amazing.
I went into that movie blind. I went to the theater to see it. Funny
Wow.
story. My friend's parents took us when it came out, and uh, I was kind of shocked they were taking us to see this because they were Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm like,
What?
y'all are taking us to see this? Okay, whatever. But I had no idea it was even a vampire movie. Like I knew nothing about what we were watching. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't want to see this like heist movie. Like, what are we doing? And then so imagine my surprise. Like I hadn't seen the trailer or anything. When
Whoa.
Selma Hayek just goes full vampire. You know, uh, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, holy shit, this is great. So thank you,
Like,
Jehovah's Witness.
are
Yeah,
they all freaking out? Like,
we sat.
because here,
They sat through the whole thing. So I guess so. Yeah.
man. I mean, and like, I'm trying to think of too. When they originally had that movie out for release, was that ever a point of like interest to put in the trailer? Because I can't remember the original trailer, but it's just like
I don't
I
either.
remember my
I
buddy
don't know.
telling me, hey, this movie, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, complete different turn midpoint, and I'm just like,
Yeah, it's
all
not what you.
right,
It's
I
not what
mean,
you
whatever.
think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Like I said, I don't remember ever seeing the original trailer. I know, like, I've seen it on like other like DVDs when they'll talk about other movies and like the previews and before the
Uh,
movie. It'll show her doing her transformation. So, but that's just like on a DVD, but the actual trailer, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to watch it as soon as we get
Yeah.
done to find out. I'm curious
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Man, dude. To like that's one of those things I feel like, for people that are sports fans and like, man, if I got to see Babe Ruth hit a homer, or if I got to see Hank Aaron, da da da, like whatever, like I feel like that's one of those things that's always been something to me in the back of my mind is like seeing Jaws, seeing Godzilla in theater, seeing a movie like From Dusk Till Dawn and getting halfway through and being like, what the fuck
Yeah.
am I watching?
Yeah.
That is a moment to
Yeah.
me. Wow.
Imagine sitting with a bunch of Jehovah's Witnesses going to the Titty Twister. Yeah.
Maybe they thought that it was like a fellow Jehovah's Witness quest,
I
from
don't know,
dusk until
maybe.
dawn, trying to.
Maybe. I think they were had just converted too, so they were, I think, trying to figure it out, So
Oh
I
man,
don't know.
they're like, "Am I gonna burst like one of these
I,
motherfuckers if
I
the
know.
sunlight hits
I
me?"
know. I'm like, whatever.
I can't do
Like,
that. I
I
can't do
mean,
that.
whatever. I know your mom still smokes pot. Whatever. Y'all can Jehovah's Witness my ass.
Oh my god. What about a 2000s horror movie? And this is something I'm excited for because I kind of pick up on that you're a little bit more, like keen into the, like the classics. I appreciate that, but I like to hear too. You've kind of mentioned a couple of newer ones, and what's a favorite that would come there?
Uh, Early. So like when you say like 2000 to 2010 kind of thing. Is that what we're talking
Um,
about?
yeah, for the sake
All
of
right.
let's do
All
that. I don't
right.
want to have you absolutely
Valentine.
pain stricken.
Huge fan of Valentine. I know I mentioned
Okay.
before. I love like a good holiday
Mm-hmm.
slasher.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, love that. I love the House of Wax remake. I thought that was
Okay.
incredible. Um,
And James says My Bloody
my boy
Valentine 3D.
Valentine 3D. He fucking hates that movie, but I love that one too.
It's
So,
pretty fun.
uh,
It's
so
pretty
yeah,
fun.
like Wrong Turn. That's a good one too.
Okay. Okay. I dig that.
The early 2000s are tough because I do like an obscure movie. I love things that kind of fly under the radar that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people haven't heard
Mm-hmm.
of. But those are really like the 80s and the 90s are good for those. The early 2000s, like direct to DVD or direct to video movies, kind
Mm-hmm.
of suck. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
the few and far between. If they didn't hit the theater in the early 2000s, there's not that many good ones,
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
opinion, at least.
Well, I mean, of course, like you had like the um, Jesus Christ, the House on Haunted Hill, and you had House
Mm-hmm.
of Wax, and you had,
Yeah.
some of
13
those
Ghosts.
ones, like you had
Yeah.
13 Ghosts, that were kind of like these like classic, like remakes or whatever. And like you mentioned, you have some of those, ones that they got to theater. But I think what was always interesting to me was when I discovered the French Extreme and those releases and Inside and Martyrs and fucking
Martyrs.
uh,
That talk about
Calvaire.
that's a movie I'll never see again in my entire life. Like talk about just something bleak and depressing. Like
Yeah.
I could. That was a one and done for me. Like I was like, man, I need to watch like fucking Care Bears or something after this. Like I need to talk to an adult. Like this was something happened.
Oh, that
I
was
just felt
funny.
so
Something
bad for
happened.
those people. Something happened in that movie. Ooh, it made me feel weird. Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Um.
I'm about fucking crying. That
Yeah.
was really funny.
That made me feel weird. I'll never watch that again in my life. Yeah.
Oh,
Martyrs, please.
okay.
Oh,
Okay. I gotta take a deep breath. That was funny. Something happened.
it
Oh, god
did.
damn it. Oh man,
James says
that caught me.
Frontiers. I don't know
Oh,
what Frontiers is.
oh, Frontiers is fucking awesome. It's like a French Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh,
Um, Xavier Gens did it. He's done. Oh, you're gonna. Oh fuck! I'm trying to get over that. That was fucking funny. Okay, all right. Um, he recently did Under Paris. It was like a shark movie. That's not a great example. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but fuck, he did a movie called Cold Skin. That was a it was almost like if you picture it was God damn it, dude. If you pictured something like The Lighthouse, but yet there were these beautiful mermaids that would come out at night and try to kind of coerce you so much. And so this one fella is trying to, make his way down there to have sex with this fucking mermaid, and they're like demons, like basically like
Okay.
trying to summon them. And dude, that movie absolutely rocks too. That movie's awesome. But Frontiers is fucking great. I love that movie.
Okay.
I don't know if are you familiar with Second Sight releases
Yeah,
out of UK?
I do.
Big
I
old
have
big
some of
box
those.
sets. They
I have a
did a
few of
they did a
those.
thing of Frontiers too.
I have their high tension release.
Brother, tell me about it. Me too. I love that thing, man.
That's a great
Holy
movie.
man.
Love that movie.
God damn it. Now what about I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be hard.
What?
That was that you broke
I didn't
me,
mean to break
brother. That's
you.
what
I'm
this is
sorry.
called. You broke me. I like can't even look at you now for a little while. Like fucking you saying that was fucking so funny.
Whatever. You brought up
I
martyrs.
just
That's a trigger for me, man.
but I pictured being in that moment and being that person of like I need to reach out to
I
somebody. This
I
fucking did it.
know it did. Fucking awful.
Okay, a horror remake. Now, we've kind of gone through those times, brothers. We've
Oh
gone through the
yeah,
2000s.
yeah.
Uh, Anything come to mind as something that you were very impressed with or that you actually liked?
For
No?
sure. No, The Ring.
Okay. The audio cut out for some reason. I'm sorry. I was like,
No,
what? The
the
Ring.
Ring. The Ring.
Dude.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done. I've seen Ringu,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like fine, but I thought this was one instance where the remake was better. You know.
Okay.
Um, what else? Obviously, I know this is low hanging fruit, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake I thought was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Love that.
oh God, House of Wax. Obviously, I know I mentioned that too. There were some other ones that stand out. Yeah, The Ring for sure. I think like if you're talking about a remake that's superior to the original, for sure, The Ring.
Okay. Okay. And it's funny too because as much as I love that original one, I
Mm-hmm.
can pull you back to the exact Sunday that I watched that remake in my bedroom at my parents' house. I popped in the rented copy and I got done. And I feel like it was kind of like what you're saying with Martyrs, where I just didn't feel well. Like I just didn't, and not even like physically sick, but I was just like, I don't like looking toward my
It was
TV. I don't really want to
creepy,
go out
right?
and talk
Yeah,
to anybody. Like there was just a lot going on in the back of my mind. It did not leave for quite a while. It's like I love
yeah.
Ringu, but when I watched that remake, I was just like, "Fuck, man,
Did you see
I
the
shouldn't have done
remake
that."
first? Did you see the remake first before Ringu? Because I did.
No, I saw Ringu prior to that, and then maybe even like the original sequel.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, watching that one, I was just like,
yeah. I mean, well done for sure. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Also, Night of the Living Dead, the '90s remake.
Oh,
I thought
dude.
very good. That was one I grew up watching all the time. I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
So sick. And they're talking about too, like working on something with Tom Savini about like an uncut edition of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
Like there was
Yeah.
additional footage that was supposed to be
Hmm.
put in and I don't know, something else, but maybe like a Scream Factory was doing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I would love to have some sort of newer release for that movie because,
Oh yeah.
I mean, talk about something that's like, it's same enough and it's also different enough to keep it
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like it pays homage to the original in so many ways. But yeah, they change enough of it to make it something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. If you haven't seen it, whoever's watching, please check that out. Yeah.
Totally. And I hate to even sound like snobby or like some kid that was born past, the 60s, 70s or 80s or whatever, but it's like I honestly like the original movie is fine, but if I were a kid and that was one of the first horror movies that you were showing me in like past the 80s, the
Yeah.
90s or 2000s, I'd be on my phone too. I'd
Yeah.
like not to say that that movie isn't absolutely quintessential for many aspects of what horror is today. Like you can't take away, respecting, what it is and what it's done as far as for the genre. But as far as just watching the movie, I'm just like, yeah, it's
I
okay. That remake
totally get
fucking
that.
kicks
Yeah.
ass.
Hmm.
Totally kicks
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah.
Uh,
Especially
um,
if you're like an ADD, you suffer with ADHD or whatever. Yeah, the remake's gonna be probably more for you,
mhm. Yeah.
than the original. The original is honestly, it's in my top 10 of favorite horror movies of all time. I got a big soft spot for that one. I watched it all the time as a kid, so
Okay.
I love it for that reason.
Okay.
Um, I can totally see why it's not everybody's cup of tea, especially like the modern crowd.
And it's weird though too, because like when I was coming up, like I was very big into, from my brothers, like the original Godzilla movies and Three Stooges, and like the original The Thing from Another Planet, or whatever the fuck,
Hmm.
from outer space. Um, but even like 40s things, and like Circus of Horrors, and 50s, and some of the 60s, and I don't know ever really what it was, but for some reason, Night of the Living Dead, even being horror, I
Yeah,
just, yeah,
yeah,
it's okay,
yeah. It's fun.
So, but I guess with all of these things kind of at hand, like where does a collection start for you? Is that something that was a local shop? You just saw a movie that you liked and you wanted to pick up, a copy of it. How did that happen? Do you remember?
So I've actually thought about this before. It's like, when did I like conscious that I'm actively collecting movies?
Mm-hmm.
It's just something I've always done. I
Mm-hmm.
guess when say I think back to like birthdays or Christmases. My parents would say, "What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas?" I'd always throw out a bunch of movies that I'd want, right?
Yep.
Um, Things I would see at the video store. So okay, so how did it start for me? Was there a store? So it's a combination of things. Birthday gifts. I'm assuming my mom just picked these up from like Kmart, Walmart, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of like previously viewed movies from like the rental store. I'd have a whole collection of previously viewed movies. I didn't give a fuck if they were new or not. I just wanted to have the actual movie to watch in my house.
Yeah. Sure.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so growing up, so yeah, just like the used section at Blockbuster or the mom and pops, or just going to Kmart and Walmart and digging through the movie bins. And
I,
now there's all kinds of options. There's eBay. There's places like
uh-huh.
Diabolic and Orbit DVD, which I love. I go to Orbit DVD like in person, like at least once a month. They don't. I'm just right down the road from there. So
Somebody called me through Instagram and kicked me off. And so trying to back out of that, it then kicked us off of here and completely exited out. The trouble I was having was when I went to go check my page, it didn't save any of our
oh,
video. So
oh
I'm
no,
like,
that sucks.
oh my God. However, it's in my archive. So
Oh, perfect.
that was what was taking so long, because I was like, okay, if that didn't even save, I'm not gonna even waste the rest of your time tonight. We will just reschedule something to do it again. But I've never had that before, so I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's
I was
okay.
panicking because I'm like, dude, no fucking way.
No, I've been like keeping my fingers crossed this whole time, like my mom doesn't call me or something, and I was afraid I was gonna mess it up for you. So.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So we were talking, you started your collection, and I think this is kind of something that's like, that's a mutual effect toward others. Where you're not necessarily thinking about it. It's just being young and asking for a couple of DVDs for a holiday, or getting some allowance and going to the shop, a video or music shop, and being like,
Yeah,
oh, this looks cool, and like having something like that, and then all of a sudden you're putting stuff on a shelf, and it like looks kind of cool as it builds up. And so that's that being one of those things. Do you remember a first release or a first like VHS or DVD at all that that would have been like, maybe this was the start of this all?
oh gosh, like actively like knowing like okay, well,
Not
hmm.
necessarily even knowing, just like this was like the first release that you're like something physical that you had in your hands of a movie.
Oh yeah, like the Blockbuster Presents Halloween kind of thing. I remember that
Sure.
one.
Okay. Okay.
That was pretty cool. And I was like, oh well, now that I have the first one, I needed to get rest of them, right? So, yeah, probably something like this.
Okay, okay, very nice,
Yeah.
very nice. And then there it is. Is this is essentially we honestly can even wrap on that note of saying that the rest is history. That now we're
Correct.
fucked.
Yeah,
You
I
you
know.
bought that one and you're like,
Yeah,
now I have to get that. Oh, I didn't realize there was nine other Friday the
I
13th
I
movies, and I
know. Well,
I
in
guess
that
I'll have
particular
to.
one, I got it as like a birthday gift. That
Okay,
was a birthday gift. My parents got me. Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
okay.
I remember that. So
Yeah,
I was like, well, now I got to get the rest of these fucking movies.
dude,
So,
it's crazy because I don't have a whole lot of VHS out. You pulling out that bad boy, I actually think I have the same Blockbuster copy of that.
mm-hmm. Yep.
I can't think of if that's like a rare title.
That not that particular
Okay.
one.
All
You
right.
can find that one probably still at like Goodwills and stuff.
Oh,
One of my
okay.
AirPods
Cool.
died. Can you still hear me?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
good. All good.
We're
No, I
just
just
falling apart here towards the end, Eric. Yeah.
Eric and Derrick blows up the fucking app.
Yeah.
That's what ends up happening. No, I just saw that. I was like, damn, I think I have that. And I looked down, I'm like, there it
Yeah.
is. Very cool.
Not
Oh.
too hard to
Hmm.
find. But I grab those anytime I see them out up at Goodwill. I'm like, I'm rescuing you. You're coming home with
Dude.
me. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. We're not leaving you here for some
No.
grummy kid to rub his gums
No.
all over the plate.
No.
No, we're not doing that. No, as far as having, some of these collectibles and having some of these things and, this kind of like multiplies over time. You mentioned that about the Halloween. What is a movie that you have the most copies of? And maybe this is spanning across VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, maybe very many DVDs or VHS copies of. What
I
comes to
want to
mind?
say um, it's definitely a Halloween movie. I'd have to count them. My guess is probably Halloween 5 is what I own the most copies of because that's like my
Really?
personal favorite sequel. Yeah. Uh,
Oh,
that was
more than two?
more than two. I have a lot of copies of Halloween 5. I have a lot of variations of the DVD. I have the screener VHS tape from, that gets sent out to the video stores back in the day. I've got the laser disc. That one for sure. Yeah.
Halloween 5.
Yeah. That was the first horror movie I ever saw. So
Ever?
ever. That was the very first one.
Oh, shit. Okay.
My gateway drug into horror was Halloween 5. Yeah.
Was it on TV or did somebody?
Okay, so mom rented it when it came out and it came out in 89, so that would have made the tape release in 1990, right?
Okay.
So I was like 4 years old and she brought it home and I watched it with her and that's all she wrote, man. I was hooked from there. I I
Wow.
had no, idea about the game. I just saw this shit and it was
Sequels, what
like,
came
oh
out
yeah, I
before?
didn't. I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, he's trying to kill this little
Yeah.
girl. So
Okay.
I thought
Okay.
it blew my mind. I thought it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. So
And by no means, I mean, it's not to say, like, unfortunately, Halloween has some pretty fucking
it does.
snoozers
It
of
does.
sequels.
Yeah.
And, but the nostalgia factor of like having something like that, of course, makes sense. I mean, there's movies that I could probably pull off, my shelf to where I'm like, man, how fun. And, it's just like the average person's like,
Oh,
this movie's
I know.
ass,
Listen,
like,
I'm
but
not completely delusional enough to know. Like I know Halloween 5 is it's got some problems,
I
right?
think
But
I
I
was thinking
love
of
it.
6,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. When I was
Six.
originally thinking
Yeah.
of like the different
Mm-hmm.
sequels, and 5 is better than 6. 4 was all right because that had what's his Paul Rudd in it, right?
6 has Paul Rudd. That was 6. Six
6 has Paul Rudd in it.
6 has Paul Rudd.
What one's
Yeah.
5 then?
5 is it's got Daniel Harris. It does have uh Donald Pleasance. They're at
Okay.
the this is the follow up. I mean, I don't know how to explain Halloween 5 to you. Now that I think about it, she's mute, because she just got fucked up from the previous year's Halloween
Oh,
4, so
oh
she
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
speak.
Okay,
And they have this
okay,
telepathic connection.
okay,
And there's the whole he's trying to run her down in a car. Is yeah.
okay, okay. Dude, tons of fun. I mean,
Well, so, yeah.
But that's sick. I mean, and even having that memory too, and having that time spent, and I mean, those are beautiful memories that you
Yeah.
can kind of go back on and think of, and yeah, Halloween
If it
Five,
wasn't
dude, that's
for
sick,
Halloween 5, your boy wouldn't be here.
brother.
So, hmm
You know what I'm saying? And like I say, as far as like all the years that I would back and talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and people are just like, dude, shut the
I
fuck
know.
up. Like, you don't even know what you're
I
talking about. I'm like,
know.
have you watched this movie? Like,
I know.
yes, it's ridiculous, but it's great.
I know.
So good. And yeah, I love that. I love for a hot take. And truthfully, I mean, like, the hotter the take, the better.
Oh,
And sometimes it might be a
I
battle.
know.
We might be fighting.
And what's
But
funny is I didn't even realize how much hate Halloween 5 had, like, until I joined like the Halloween message board back in like the early 2000s, and I went and I'm like, I think they actually had like a thread just for that sequel, and people were just shitting on it. And I'm like, wow, my feelings are hurt. Like, people are like just shit talking my favorite one. I'm like, why do they hate it so much? I had no clue.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm definitely on a lonely island over here. But I think we
But you
all
have to
have
think,
that one. I think we all have that one movie, right? That
yeah,
like we
absolutely.
love, unconditionally, even though we know like it's kind of a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maximum Overdrive.
Fuck yeah, I love that movie.
Oh,
Another early core memory. I love Maximum Overdrive. We're high
dude.
fiving. Yes,
Fuck yes.
absolutely. That
Absolutely love it.
steamroller scene. You want to talk about a
Oh my
scene that stands out to
God.
me? That like steamroller scene where that he just crushes that kid.
So
I think
sick.
that was like one of the first movies I saw where like a kid died. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Okay.
because before that, I'm like, okay, kids are kind of safe in horror. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
you don't have to worry about, but not in that one.
No.
Nobody's
No.
safe.
I saw Toxic Avenger, and that was where the kid getting his head run
Yeah,
over, and I'm like,
yeah,
how are they allowed to do that?
yeah.
Like, fucking A. Oh my God, that was so insane. No, yeah, Maximum Overdrive. I mean, that's always been just the campiness of it, but having that moment and then the silly, like, kind of psycho, like, like
Yeah. Mhm.
the
Yeah.
pop machine, and you're just like,
Yes.
oh,
Oh, just yeah, just fuck the coach up, and then the
Curtis.
Kurt. I love her. She's the best. Love her. I love Curtis. I love the Oh my gosh, the waitress. That thing bit
Yeah.
me. Like yeah, yeah. We
So
made
good. Oh
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
Gets blown to pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. It's so ridiculous. That preacher man getting his
Yes.
ass just completely plowed into the fucking that sounded awful, but
No.
getting knocked into
Listen. That
the
shady
elevator.
Bible salesman,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was a perv, right? No.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so great. What is it? You mentioned the Fright Night 2, but do you have like a VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, like particular copies that are your favorite? Something that somebody comes over and it's like, hey, this thing was expensive and I cannot lose this, or this is, near and dear to me. Anything come to mind there?
Well, since we're talking about shit that we love and nobody else does, so I'll show
Mm-hmm.
you my screener copy of Halloween 5 that I got in a trade. Um, I traded a copy of Street Trash for this. Um,
Oh,
so I don't know as far as like value how expensive this technically is. I just know it's really hard to find. Um,
okay.
so this is it, and it kind of has this like almost
Damn.
like shiny metallic
Okay.
finish. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just the screener. I love this. It is incredibly rare, super hard to find. That's it. It's a full screener for Halloween 5 that got sent out to like the video stores back in the day.
God,
That one here.
how
So
cool, man.
love that. Yeah. And I got the part 4 as well. Sorry.
The screener
So
too?
screener,
Damn,
yeah.
no shit.
How much can you see? Halloween 4.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So real proud of those.
Okay. So sick. And you have, I mean, how far up does that go? I mean, did they have screeners of even like H2O? And I'm
They
trying to think of,
do. I think there's screeners for all. Let's see, 4 through Resurrection.
okay.
Resurrection, their screeners for all of those.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I don't believe screeners for the first three exist.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Is Resurrection the one with Busta Rhymes?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Dude.
man. That one. That one
Yeah.
really sucks,
Let's
doesn't
move
it?
on.
Yeah. People are gonna start dipping out if we go down that rabbit hole. Yeah.
Or maybe hopping in. I don't know. To
Oof.
be able to sit here and just talk shit on that the whole time.
I know. I
Dear
think
Lord.
that's one thing that all horror fans can collectively agree on is how horrible that one is.
God, terrible. People were like making fun of, well, like I will say I hate the fucking Rob Zombie ones, but the most recent, like the 2018,
Yeah.
I love that people like, were just shitting on those and trashing on those. I'm like, dude, you have movies like Resurrection that exist in this same franchise and Rob Zombie's movies that exist in this same
Right.
franchise. Like, I don't want to hear it.
I know.
I don't even want to go for it. But, um, you know, where do you end up discovering as far as like there being a community on here? This was something that I thought that was interesting when, I'm not really much for social media or anything like that, but
Yeah.
noticing that people are out there that actively collect these things and have, other than, some random person that you saw at a video shop, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I started this page, the Blockbusted Videos page, just as a way to kind of um, have like a photographic record because of tapes I used to thrift at like thrift stores. Because one thing I love is going to like a Goodwill or just any thrift store and finding a tape or even the DVD. I don't care. Like I'm not exclusively VHS tapes. They're my favorite things to find, obviously, but I'll get Blu-rays and DVDs as well. But it
Mhm.
started out as a way to showcase just cool tapes I found at a thrift store, right? And I didn't even realize there was like a community for that when I first started this page. And just naturally, just as I started posting and doing hashtags and following the hashtags, I started just encountering other similar pages of people who did the same thing as I did. And it just opened my world up to, different horror creators, people like yourself. I think you and I have been friends for, several years now.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, I did not know there was an online community for this. I had no clue.
It's crazy, huh? I mean,
Yeah.
like, and it's cool just to have this like almost expansion pack of like all of a sudden like you make something like this and you follow a couple of people
Hmm.
and they follow a couple of people that you find and they have this just ginormous fucking collection of things. You're like, oh my god, like this is insane. And it's
Yeah.
funny too because when I think about like my collection of when I have 400 or 500 movies or whatever, and then all of a sudden I see some people that have like full fucking hallways into walls of just shelves. You're just like, wow,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what don't you
I know.
have?
Exactly. I know. Well, yeah, you think it's as soon as you think like you have like your want list, right? You make like a list of movies that you want to get on tape or whatever,
Hmm.
still physical copies of, and you think that's going to be it,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you make a list of like 10 more you need,
yeah.
and then you watch one movie and you see a trailer for a movie you never knew existed. It's like, oh, I need to
Hmm.
see that, and it's only available on tape. You can't even find this on YouTube anywhere.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you know how it is.
I mean, and to go along like with your handle, even like the Blockbuster video,
Yeah.
the family video. I mean, I feel like this is kind of like a mutual thing where when we walked in there, like we thought we were, king shit of fuck mountain. Like we knew all of the horror movie releases, right? Like,
Right.
looking to find and looking to see, and then you have something like Vinegar Syndrome or some of these like smaller labels that are coming out, and it's
Hmm.
just like, what is
Yeah.
this? What
Yeah.
is that? I've
Yeah.
never even heard of this.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
crazy,
great time to be a movie fan, especially a
dude.
horror movie fan. Yeah.
So
Um,
sick, so
it's
sick,
definitely, I love Vinegar Syndrome. I have a whole little shelf dedicated to them that you can't see like on this side of my room. So
dude.
all the tapes
So
on this
awesome.
side, the discs on this side. So
Yeah. So, all right. To wrap up here, I wanted to do something that I've seen every once in a while here on Instagram, and something that would be kind of fun to show off. Some of your collection and some of the picks that
oh
came
sure.
to mind here to do a Derrick stack. And so each movie, the first letter of each movie will start with one of the letters of your name, starting with D. What did you pick out, buddy?
D. Okay, I went with Demons.
And the
Bertram Baba.
VHS.
Yes,
Aye,
VHS of
aye,
Demons.
aye.
Yes.
Man, what cover art? Now, I mean, what's like your TV VCR setup that you're doing as far as for your VHS when you're
Okay,
watching them?
so I have like a little TV VCR combo situation on a shelf over here. I do
Okay.
have a VCR connected to my flat screen as well. So a couple different ways, right? It just depends on what mood I'm in and how comfortable I want to be. Like, do I want to sit in this chair over here and watch it on my little CRT, or do I want to see something on the big screen?
And your VCR plugs into your big screen?
Yeah. Yeah, it's got the little adapters for it.
Oh, wow. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I mean, how does something look in like 1080p that's on a fucking VHS? Does that like transfer at all?
It actually does. I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, you can tell it's on a tape, because it's a little fuzzy, but
Yeah.
you can still see it fine as day. I know there's some purists out there that I only watch it on my fucking
Tube TV.
CRT. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But sometimes it's more comfortable. I have the way my room's set up. I have like a couch situation in front of the big screen, and sometimes it's just more comfortable to
Hey,
sit on the fucking couch.
you know, well, we don't have to sit here and explain things.
Yeah,
Just explain these things.
my AirPods died, so your audio is going to severely change in a second. Sorry.
You're all good. No, I heard it all of a sudden. I was like, oh man, we're running on a thin fucking line
I
of
know.
just everything dying here. Sorry, buddy. All right, let's go with
E.
E. You had demons.
I had demons. Sticking with the demon theme, Evil Dead, right? The Evil Dead.
What a beautiful
Yeah.
dude, and cover art.
Yes.
Man,
Classic Evil Dead.
I love that.
Can't go
All
wrong
right,
with that.
we have two
Two,
R's now.
two
Let's
R's.
see as far as you have a lengthy collection. So I'm sure that you came up with a
I
couple.
did something, one of my all-time favorites, Return of the Living Dead 3.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I like the first three
Awesome.
a lot, but I have a special place in my heart for part 3.
Okay.
All right. Love it though. Second
Solid.
R. Rejuvenator. Have you seen the Rejuvenator? No. Okay.
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to like see the.
So this was the substance before the substance existed, right? So this movie
Oh
is.
wait, yeah. I guess
came,
I've heard something about
it
this.
came
Yeah,
out in
yeah.
1988, I believe, and it's about this rich lady who's aging, and this doctor has come up with some serum that's supposed to reverse aging and stop it in its tracks. Well, obviously, it doesn't go as planned, as you can tell from the cover, and turns her into a grotesque monster, right? So, this has flown under the radar for many years, but because of the substance being so incredibly popular, I hope more people seek out this movie. If you haven't seen The Rejuvenator, definitely check it out. It's also,
Whoa.
I believe this one's trapped on VHS. I don't think a disc exists yet of this movie.
Okay.
You can
Whoa.
probably find it. It might be streaming on YouTube. You know how some people will upload like VHS rips
Yeah.
on YouTube. I think there is a rip of it on YouTube. Definitely check it out. It's completely worth your time.
Dude. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, please check
I'm digging into that right away.
I.
All right.
Okay,
Yep.
you mentioned Vinegar Syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
I placed an order so fast for this,
Is it
but
iced?
it's ice. Yes, it's ice.
Sick.
Yeah, I have been waiting for that to be on disc forever.
Dude.
Yes.
So sick.
Talk about being a cheerleader for a movie. I have been screaming about this movie for years. It's one of my favorites. It's so stupid. But just, it's so 80s too. And like 80s ski culture, I love, So,
Okay.
I mean, this just checks a lot of boxes for me. You haven't seen Ice.
Man.
It's a slasher movie about a killer on skis. Like, what more do you need? You know what I mean? Have you seen it? Have you seen Ice?
No, not yet. I'm excited for
Pre-ordered
it. I'm getting it through a local shop here, Static Tape. He bought I think 10 or 12 of them.
Okay.
And he was saying, like, hey, whenever it comes in, I'll have a couple of them on and I'll give you a call to come in. So
Lee,
I just grabbed it from him.
holler at me after you watch it because
I
I'm gonna
will,
talk to
dude.
you about this movie.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, Ice
Yeah.
is a great time. All right.
Love it. Okay.
C, going with a classic here. Carrie,
Dude.
love
And
Carrie.
the
Yeah.
cover art too, that's always been another one that has always like carried with me. Well, carried. But just you see like the lettering and then you see this kind of before and after and
Uh-huh.
man,
Yeah.
where does our mind take us? How did it get to this point? Very visceral story
Yeah.
too.
Absolutely.
Man.
Great book too. If you haven't
Yeah, oh
read the
yeah.
book,
Yeah.
definitely check the book out
Mm-hmm.
because it goes into you get more backstory on Carrie
Yep.
and like her dad and kind of crazy things that happen in her house and things
Yep.
like that. So,
Yep. For sure.
big fan of that. All right, K. We'll wrap this up with K. Going with Killer Workout. You seen Killer
Well,
Workout before?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Linnea Quigley?
No, they
Or
should be.
no.
It
What?
it,
Didn't
it
she
should
do
be.
something along those lines though? She had like a
She
workout tape.
did Linnea Quigley's horror
Horror
workout.
workout.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. That's what I
They
was
call it
thinking
a
of. Okay.
workout, but technically all she does is just kind of stretch. You know, that's all she kind of does. And there's a scene.
Okay.
They show her showering. You know,
Oh,
because it's not Linnea Quigley unless she's topless, right?
sure.
So,
Okay, that makes sense.
but yeah, this is about a killer at
Killer workout. Okay.
a gym in California who kills people with a giant safety pin.
For a second there, I was going to ask you if it was Death Spa, but
It's
I,
love Death Spa as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude, that movie is
that's
so
one.
sick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what just happened there, but hey,
Oh,
thumbs up.
what? Thumbs up. Yeah.
No, dude, that's so sick. And I mean, I love the stack there. Some of the the maintenance issues that we've had, I'll get everything all blended together and beautiful for YouTube. Derrick, thank you so much, buddy. This
Oh,
has
Aaron, this
been
was
so much
fun.
fun.
Anytime. This was great.
God,
I've had so much
and
fun doing this.
we'll do it again. We'll have a better go at it, and
Oh, I don't
maybe
care. Listen, it's fine. There's little hiccups. I don't give a
yeah,
shit. So,
maybe
yeah.
do like a little like town hall type thing. Like, hey, we're gonna watch this movie here. We're gonna do a meet up on here, and come and hang out with us and talk with us about such and such. I've kind of had this idea. I'm gonna flesh it out a little bit. Maybe have some fun. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
let's do it.
saying?
Down.
Dude, I like I say, I really appreciate it. We're gonna get this up on YouTube here. I've been doing Tuesday releases, so working through getting on those. I'll have it promoted on here, and you take care, man. Get healthy fully, and you take care. Have a good night,
Thanks,
brother.
Eric.
All right,
Bye.
buddy. See ya. I've been doing.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of a live studio audience.